So, good morning, friends. Today we are going to discuss about composite sections. So, this composite section. So, generally, any section which is made up of two or three components, different components, put together as a single unit. So it is called as composite section. So we have to solve problems on composite sections. So therefore, we have to note down the equations, formulas, and also the values used for solving the problems. So, as told just now, so any section which is made up of two or three parts or components, they are referred to as composite sections. So first component, second component, third component. So mostly we will be getting problems on composite sections having three components, and of course sometimes we will be getting problems on these composite sections having only two components. So the number of components depend upon the situation and requirements. So generally, we have to deal with, composite sections made of, three components. So we have to note down the, figures, formulas, equations, also parameters, required for solving problems on composite sections. So generally, here we will be asked to measure the total elongation of the composite section. So measurement of total elongation is the only question that is generally mostly asked in this particular topic. So friends, measurement of total elongation of the given composite section. So that is the question to be answered in the examinations. Now for getting this figure, we have to initially measure the elongations of individual components. That is elongation of the first component, and secondly followed by elongation of the second component, followed by elongation of the third component. So we have to measure the elongations of all the components, first component, second component, and third component. Obviously, if you add up all these values as a whole, you will be getting the total elongation of the composite section. So total elongation is obtained by calculating the individual elongations and adding the elongations of all the components. So friends, find out the elongations of all the components separately add up all these values. Ultimately, you will be getting the result, that is the total elongation of the composite section. So this is the important and a question that is commonly, asked in most of the examinations. Now here there are two factors. One is a load acting on the section, and the another one is area of the various areas of various components of the section. Now sometimes the load acting on the section is uniform, and the area of cross sections of the components are also uniform. So it is called as uniform loads and uniform cross sections. And secondly, we have problems on uniform loads and varying cross sections, different cross sections. And thirdly, we have problems on varying loads and uniform cross sections, that is same cross sections. And finally, we have problems on varying loads and varying cross sections. So friends, this topic, it is divided into, it has to be divided into four components: uniform loads, uniform cross sections, uniform loads, varying cross sections, varying loads, uniform cross sections, varying loads, and varying cross sections. So different questions will be asked in different examinations. Sometimes you will be getting a problem on first topic, and sometimes you will be getting a problem on second topic, third topic, and fourth topic, so on and so forth. So friends, this load acting on the section, that is very, very important, and areas of components of the section also very, very important. So these two factors are very, very important for making calculations. So therefore, it is divided into, four categories based on these two factors, namely load on the section and area of the components. So based on these two, factors, these composite sections, the problems are divided. The problems on composite sections are divided into four categories. So uniform load, uniform cross sections, uniform load, varying cross sections, varying load, uniform cross sections, and varying load, varying cross sections. So different formulas, in all the cases, we have to measure the total, you will be asked to measure the total elongation of the section. So now in different cases, the formulas will be changing from one case to another case. So four different methodologies or formulas available for solving problem on four topics. So I have to carefully, you have to remember the names of these topics, and also we have to remember the methodology and formulas and equations to be, used for solving problems on these topics. So that means solving problem on first topic, we have to use one formula. For second topic, you have to use another methodology or another formula. For third topic, there is another formula, and finally for the last topic also we have a separate formula. So separate formulas are available for solving problems on these four topics. So we have to remember the names of topics, and also we have to remember the equations to be used for solving problems on these topics. So first equation used for the second topic, you will be going wrong in the examination. So remembering the names of the topics and remembering corresponding equations for solving problems on these topics. So that is, very, very important. So as I've already told you just now, different equations are to be used for solving, different topics on composite sections. So friends, as I've already, told you, so two factors are very, very, important, as I've already told you in the beginning of the session. So two factors are very, very essential for naming the topics and solving the problem. The first one is load acting on the section, load acting on the composite section, and areas of various components present in the composite section. So first factor, load acting on the section, and the second factor, area of components of the section. So friends, now here we are going to deal, firstly we are going to deal with this topic, namely uniform load and varying sections. So this is the first topic to be, studied under the heading composite sections. So the name of the first topic is uniform load and varying sections. So my dear friends, the name, there is no difficulty in understanding the name of the topic. So the name itself implies the load acting on the section, entire section is one and the same. It is called as a uniform load. But the section is made up of different components having different diameters or different dimensions or different areas. So components are made up of different dimensions, different area of cross sections. So therefore they are called as varying. They're called as varying sections. So the load acting on the entire section is one and the same. It's called as uniform load. And the components of the section is having different areas. It is made up of the components of the section are made up of different diameters, different areas, or different dimensions. So simply it is called as varying sections. So just by looking at the title, we can make out, we can get an idea about the load acting on the section and also the areas of various components present in the section. So friends, load is uniform, areas are changing. So it is, titled as uniform load and varying sections. Now friends, let us look at this arrangement. So this entire thing shown in red color. So it is called as a composite section. So it is made up of, as shown in the figure, as given in the figure, it is made up of three components. This is the first component, and this is the second component, and finally this is the third component. Now, load particulars are given, the load acting on this entire section. So this is shown at the ends of the composite section. So it is one and the same. It's called as uniform load. But different components are having different areas. Area of the first component is very small. It is called as A1. Area of second component is medium. It is called as A2. Area of third component, it is very large. It's called as A3. So friends, different components are having different areas. So the first one is the smallest component, and the last one, third one, is the biggest component. And of course, this second one is a medium component having medium area of cross section. The first component having very small area of cross section. Second component having medium area of cross section. Third component having large area of cross section. So generally capital A for indicating this parameter area of cross section. So this is the first component, it's called as A1, area of the first component called as A1. Area of the second component to be called as A2, area of the third component to be called as A3. So totally we are having three components. So the areas of these components are given as A1, A2 and A3 respectively. And friends, finally the load acting on the section is shown at the edges. This is the first end of the section, composite section, and this is the second other end of the section. So this, load particulars are given at the end of the composite section. Friends, capital P is the, notation letter to be used for indicating the load acting on the section. So capital P for indicating the load acting on the section, capital A for indicating the areas of various components, and better to take small l for representing the lengths of the components. So friends, length of the first component, just like the areas, length of the first component to be called as L1, small l1. Length of the second component to be called as small l2, and the length of the third component to be called as small l3. So friends, these are the important parameters, very essential for preparing equations and solving problems on these topics. And friends, last factor that is called as Young's modulus or modulus of elasticity, capital E for representing this particular parameter. So areas expressed in millimeter square and loads expressed in newtons or in kilonewtons, and lengths of the components to be expressed in terms of, again, in terms of millimeters, And finally, this Young's modulus to be expressed in terms of Newton per millimeter square. Newton per millimeter square. So load acting on the section in terms of newtons, areas of components in terms of millimeter square, lengths of components in terms of millimeters, and E values, Young's modulus values in terms of Newton per millimeter square. So P expressed in newtons, A values expressed in millimeter square, L values in millimeter, and E value to be expressed in Newton per millimeter square. So friends, these are the 4 important parameters, very essential for writing the formula of total elongation or total change in the length of the bar. That is composite sections, they are also called as bars. So it is written as total change in the length of the bar. Also can be written as total change in the length of the composite section, or simply it can be written as a total elongation of the composite section. So friends, all these words convey the same meaning. Whatever may be the case, we need 4 parameters. One is capital P, the other one is a small l values, thirdly capital A values, and lastly E values. So these are the 4 parameters essential for solving problems, not only on this topic, but all the other 3 topics mentioned under this heading. So for solving problem on any topic, we need 4 parameters: capital P, small l, capital A, and capital E. So all the equations, not only this equation of this topic, but other equations of other topics, also all the equations to be expressed in terms of 4 parameters: load acting on the section, and individual areas of components, individual lengths of components, and Young's modulus of the material used for making the components. Now friends, here it is given as E1, E2, E3. That means Young's modulus will be different for different materials. For steel, it has one value. For cast iron, it has another value. So Young's modulus will be different for different materials. But let us assume that all these components are made up of same material, then E1 will be equivalent to E2, and again that will be equivalent to E3. So it can be brought out of this region. It can be called as P by E into L1 by A1 plus L2 by A2 and plus L2 by A3. It can be written in this particular fashion. Now, as per the equation given in the problem, it implies that this is made up of one material, this is made up of another material, this is made up of another material. So, using different materials for different components, maybe it's a rare thing. So, therefore, let us assume that all this, totally it is put together, it is a composite section. So, let us assume that all these components are made up of same material. Then what happens? E value will be one and the same for all these components. E1 will be equivalent to E2, will be equivalent to E3. So it will be same for all the components, and it has to be removed from this bracket, and it can be written as P by E into L1 by A1 plus L2 by A2 plus L3 by A3 can be written in that particular fashion. And however, if a first component is made up of steel and the second component made up of cast iron and third component made up of some other metal or material, so then we have to use this formula E values will be that means you have to select different values for different E values for different components. So E values will be different. If that is the case, again it has to brought back into this bracket, and here it has to be written as E1, here it has to be written as E2, and here it has to be written as E3. But friends, in most of the examinations, we come across all the components made up of the same material. Mostly we'll be selecting a material, a common material for making all the same material for making all the components of the section. So if that is the case, E value will be one and the same. So it can be brought out of the bracket. And as mentioned in this slide, if these components are made up of different materials, then these values will be different. So therefore, in that case, here it has to be written as E1, and here it has to be written as E2, here it has to be written as E3. That means Young's modulus of the material used for making first component, that has to be written as E1. Young's modulus of the material used for making the second component to be written as E2. Young's modulus of the material used for making third component to be written as E3. So if all the components are made up of same material, then E1 will be equivalent to E2, will be equivalent to E3. So therefore E value will be coming out of the bracket. So friends, this is the way of writing equations for solving a problem on the first topic. So let us note down the details. So here we can see the various terms involved in this calculations. So load is uniform, as mentioned in the previous slide. You see this load is uniform and areas are changing. So it's called as uniform load and varying sections. So load is uniform and components are of different cross sections. In the sense, different diameters, different areas, or different dimensions. So A1, A2, A3, as mentioned in the previous figure, for representing the areas of components of areas of first, second, and third components. A1 for first component, so on and so forth. So friends, all the areas expressed in millimeters square. And secondly, L1, L2, L3 lengths of the components expressed in millimeters. And capital P, as I've already told you, load acting on components to be taken only in newtons. It should not be taken in terms of kilonewtons. Better to express load values only in newtons. So P for indicating load acting on components. Capital E for indicating Young's modulus of the material expressed in Newton per millimeter square. And DL1 elongation of the first component, DL1 second component, DL2 third component, DL3. So elongations of the components to be expressed in millimeters. And total elongation of the section, to take the individual elongations, add up all the values, automatically you will be getting the total elongation of the section. So it is given as DL1, DL, let us call it as DL, total elongation DL, elongation of first part DL1, second part DL2, third part DL3. So measure the values of DL1, DL2, DL3, add up all the values, you will be getting the total elongation, that is called as DL. Now friends, these elongations are measured in terms of millimeters. So all the while you are talking about millimeters only. So you measure the elongations, individual elongations in millimeters. Add up all the values, you get a total elongation. So individual elongations are in millimeters. So total elongation will be also expressed in terms of millimeter. So it is given as DL. It is written as a DL. So friends, DL will in any case, DL will be equal to DL1 plus DL2 plus DL. Now friends, lastly, one more thing, load is acting away from the section. So it is called as a tensile load. So if an item is subjected to tensile load, the length of the section will be getting increased. It's called as elongation. And if it is subjected to a compressive load, then the length of the section will be getting reduced. It's called as a deformation. So in the case of tensile loads, DL value has to be taken, DL must be taken as a positive value. In the case of compressive loads, DL must be taken as a negative value. Now friends, all the components are subjected to tension according to the figure that is given in this slide. So it's obviously all the components are subjected to tension. So individual elongations must be taken as positive values. So DL1 is positive, DL2 is positive, DL3 is positive. So add up all the values, will be getting total elongation of the section. So friends, these formulas are very essential. So small f for indicating stress values, it is given as P by A. So P for load in newtons. Of course, A for area of cross section in millimeter square. And again, strain, this is the formula for measuring strain. It is change in length by original length. So small e for representing this parameter. Also, we have a formula for Young's modulus. Capital E is written as F by E. So, small e, F by small e. So, therefore, small e can be written as F by capital E. Again, F is equal to P by A. It is written as P by AE. And again, E is equal to DL by L according to this formula. So DL by L can be written as P by AE. And ultimately, DL can be written as PL by AE. PL by AE. In general, DL can be written as PL by AE. So friends, this is the formula which we have seen in this slide, and we were talking about DL values. Now, how to get the formula, general formula for measuring DL value. So this is obtained by using all these fundamentals: stress formula, strain formula, Young's modulus formula, rewriting all these things, and ultimately we get this wonderful equation where DL is given as PL by AE. So this is the general, equation that can be used for measuring individual DL values of individual components, and which in turn ultimately can be used for measuring the total elongation of the composite section. So DL is written as, so in this figure for this topic, this total elongation, it will be DL1 plus DL2 plus DL3. So all the things are subjected to tensions, all the components, so all are positive. So it is written as DL1, DL2, DL3 plus DL2 plus DL3. So load is uniform. It's coming out of the bracket. Young's modulus is also uniform. It is coming out of the bracket. It is written as P by E into L1 by A1 plus L2 by A2 plus L3 by A3. So L values are different, A values are different. The values are different. All the values which are different will be coming in this bracket, and the values that are common for all the components will be coming out of the bracket. So load is uniform and U is same for all the components made up of the same material. So it is, friends, it is written in this particular fashion. So you measure the individual elongations, add up all the values, you get the final elongation. So this is the general formula for measuring individual elongations. Maybe for first component, it can be written as P1 L1 by A1E. Second component P2 L2 by A2E. Third component P3 L3 by A3E. So on and so forth. We can write any number of equations for any number of components. But P1 is equivalent to P2 is equivalent to P3. Load is uniform. P values are one and the same coming out of the bracket. And E values all are made up of same material. It's also coming out of the bracket. So it is written in this particular fashion. So friends, this is the formula to be applied for solving problems on uniform loads and varying cross sections. So friends, here we have the second topic, that is varying loads and uniform cross section. So different loads are acting on different components called as varying loads. And if you look at this figure, the area of all the components is one and the same, is uniform. So therefore, it is called as a uniform section. So common values will be coming out of the bracket, and different values will be coming, within the bracket. And like that, we can frame the equations for this particular topic, that is called as varying loads and uniform section. So different loads are acting on different components. That's why they are referred to as varying loads. The area of all the components as shown in the figure, the area of all the components are one and the same. So therefore, it is referred to as a uniform section. Now friends, let us look at the first component. Load acting on the first component is shown in this direction. So first component is subjected to tension. So therefore, BL1 has to be taken as a positive value. And here, friends, look at the third component, and force is acting in this direction. That means it is subjected to compression. So therefore, BL3 value must be taken as a negative value. So first, BL1 according to the configuration given in the figure, BL1 is subjected to tension, so it has to be taken. First component is subjected to tension, so DL1 must be taken as a positive value. Last one subjected to compression, so DL3 must be taken as a negative value. And coming to the, friends, coming to the second component, one force is acting in this direction and another force is acting in this direction. Find out the difference between these two loads. And finally, both the loads, both the forces are acting in this direction. So therefore, according to the figure that is given in the problem, that is given in the slide, second part, we can take it granted that the second part is also subjected to compression. So therefore, DL2 must be also taken as a negative value. So friends, first part is subjected to tension, so DL1 must be taken as positive value. Second and third components are subjected to compression, Therefore, DL2 and DL3 must be taken as negative values. And friends, only one force is given for first component, and P1 can be taken as 50 kilonewtons. And of course, it is a tensile load. And here P3, the load for the third component load can be taken as 10 kilonewtons. Of course, it will be coming as a negative value. And now for the second component, it has to be taken as you have to take the difference between these two values. It is not visible. It is, I think it is 80-20. So 80-20, maybe it will be coming to 60. So it is, of course, it is subjected to, compression. So positive symbol for DL1, negative symbol for DL2, negative symbol for DL. So first one subjected to tension, so allocate positive symbol. Second component subjected to compression, allocate negative symbol. Third component also subjected to compression, take negative symbol. And coming to the P values, this is a direct value for first component. This can be taken as P value. For last component, this can be taken as P value. For the middle component, the difference is the difference of these two values must be taken as P value. So selection of P value, selection of positive and negative symbols. Very, very important, and lengths of the things are given. The area is also given. It is uniform. Lengths are different. So with all these things, definitely you will be in a position to frame the equations. So loads are different, as shown in the previous slide. So, my dear students, loads are different, cross sections are one and the same. A1, A2, A3 are one and the same. L1, L2, L3 are different. E is taken as same. We assume all parts are made up of the same material. So, E will be different for a different materials, as told by me in the first slide. So for first part, P is P1, that is a tensile. Second part, P is equivalent to difference of the values P2 and P3. For third part, P is taken as P4. So both these forces are compressive, and this force is tensile. So the total elongation, it is written as DL1 minus DL2 minus DL3. And area is constant, it is coming out of the bracket. A capital E, Young's modulus is constant, it is coming out of the bracket. But P values are different, it is present inside the bracket. The L values are also different. These values will be coming, inside the bracket. So therefore, DL can be written as 1 by AE into, P1 L1 minus P2 L2 minus P3 L3. So like that, we have to measure total elongation for this particular arrangement, that is varying loads and uniform cross sections. So friends, this is the methodology, this is the procedure to be adopted for solving problems on the second topic. And friends, the third one, the third topic, it's called as varying loads and varying cross sections, varying sections. Now here we can see different loads are acting on different cross sections, different components, as shown in the as given in the previous slide. Different loads are acting on different components called as varying loads. And all these components are having different areas of cross section. So friends are referred to as varying cross sections. So this is the area of the first component A1, looking very small. This is the area of the second component A2, it's looking very large. And this is the third component area looking A3. It's looking, moderate. So this is the smallest component so far as sizes are concerned. This is the smallest component, and this is the biggest component, and this is the medium component. So whatever may be the case, friends, this elements, components, parts are made up of different areas. It's called as varying section, and the loads acting on these sections are different. So therefore, it is also called as referred to as varying loads. Friends, as shown in the previous slide, this P1 has to be taken as a load of the first component, and a difference of P2 and P3 to be taken as a load of the second component, and P4 has to be taken as a load of the third component. And similarly, my dear friends, the first component as shown in the figure according to the directions given in the figure, the first component is subjected to tension. So DL1 must be taken as a positive value. The third component is also subjected to tension. So therefore, DL3 must be also taken as a positive value. And the second component, as shown in the figure, it is subjected to compression. So therefore, DL2 must be taken as a negative value. So friends, DL is written as, must be written as plus DL1 minus DL2 plus DL3. Or in other words, it is written as DL1 minus DL2 plus DL. So tension is developed in first and third components. We are putting positive symbols for DL1, DL3. And second part is subjected to compression. So we are giving negative symbol. It is written as minus DL2. And friends, once again, I repeat, the P1 has to be taken, P value for the first component must be taken as simply, it has to be taken as P1. The P value for the last third component must be taken as a P4. And P value for the second component, it has to be taken as a difference of P2 and P3. So for first component, P is equivalent to P1. For last component, P is equivalent to P4. And for the second component, P has to be taken as a difference of P2 and P3. So friends, this is the way of preparing equations and solving problems. So we have already covered two topics, and this is the third topic, and this is the methodology to be used for solving problems on the third topic. And here alphabets are mentioned A, B, C, D. So AB for representing the first component, and BC for representing second component, and CD for representing third component. So friends, here AB is given as length of the first component, AB is given as 120 centimeter, length of the second component, BC given as 60 centimeter, length of the third component, CD, it's given as 90 centimeters. So A values will be also, we need not worry, A values will be also given in the problem. Using R, D values, diameters will be given in the problem. So you can easily measure A values. So like that, you will be in a position to solve the problem. So friends, in any topic, we need P values, we need L values, we need A values, and finally we need E values. So these are the P, L, A, E. So these are the 4 parameters, very, very essential for solving problems on all these topics. So friends, let us make a note of this of equations pertaining to this third topic. So let us go to the next slide. So friends, as shown in the figure of the third topic, that is previous slide, loads are different and cross sections are different. So I have already told you for the first component, P has to be taken as a P1, tensile force. And for second component, P has to be taken as difference of P2 and P3, that's a compressive force. For third component, P has to be taken as a P4, that is a tensile force. The L1, L2, L3 are different as shown in the figure. And my dear students, A1, A2, A3 are also different. That's why they're called as varying cross sections. And different loads are acting on different components. They're also called as varying loads. And the cross sections are different. They are referred to as varying cross sections. Now, friends, coming to E value, let us assume that the parts are made up of same material. So E will be constant. So we have to use above values of P. So P1 for first component, P2 slash P3 for second component, P4 for third component. Use the values of L1, L2, L3 separately for 3 components. Use the values of A1, A2, A3 separately for 3 components. Of course, E value is same for all the components. So we have to find out the values of DL1, DL2, and DL3. So we have to find out the values of individual elongations. And friends, DL is written as DL1 minus DL2 plus DL. So first part is subjected to tension. You are putting positive symbol, as I've already told you in the previous slide. And third part is also subjected to tension. You are putting positive symbol. The second part, it is subjected to compression. So therefore, negative sign is used for second component. So all these things put together, it is written as DL1 minus DL2 plus DL. So DL1, DL3 are positive because of tensile forces. DL2 will be negative because of compressive forces. And Young's modulus, this is the only thing, friends, this is the only thing that is common for all the components in this topic. So the value of capital E is coming out of the bracket. P values are different, L values are different, A values are different, varying cross sections. A values are different, P values are different, varying loads, P values are different, and of course, L values are also different. So therefore, these things are coming within the bracket, and this value is constant for all the items, for all the components. So therefore, it is coming out of the bracket. So friends, it can be written as 1 by E into P1 L1 by A1 plus, minus P2 L2 by A2 plus P3 L3 by A3. So like that, we can make calculations, and ultimately we will be in a position to measure the total elongation. And friends, we are coming to the last topic. It's a very simplest. Now here he says that load is uniform and areas of components are also uniform. Same load is acting on all the components. It's called as uniform referred to as uniform loads. The areas of all the components are one and the same, so uniform, sections. So we have a very simplest equation for solving the problem. Loads are uniform, it's coming out of the bracket. Areas are uniform, so loads are uniform, p value is coming out of the bracket, and the areas of all the components are uniform, so capital A is also coming out of the bracket. All the items are generally made up of same material, so capital E is also coming out of the bracket, and only, friends, we are left with L values. So friends, it is written as P by AE, P by AE, that is out of the bracket, into L1 plus L2 plus L3. So if it is given as a tensile load, all the values of L will be positive, that is plus L1 plus L2 plus L3. And if the load acting on the section, if a compressive load, if a tensile load is acting on the section, all L values must be taken as a positive. It will result in elongation, so all values must be taken, all L values must be taken as positive. And if a compressive load is acting on the composite section, all the L values must be taken as negative. So if friends, if a tensile load is acting in this situation, so on this kind of beam, so it is written as L1 plus L2 plus L3. And if a compressive load is acting on the composite section, here it is written as minus L1 minus L2 minus L3. So friends, always positive symbol to be allocated for components acted upon by tensile forces, and negative symbols to be allocated for components acted upon by compressive forces. So friends, these are the four topics. Composite sections are classified into four categories. We get problems on these topics, so do not get confused among these topics. Different rules to be adopted, different formulas, different equations to be used for solving problems on different topics. So I request all of you to once again go through these topics so that you will be automatically, you will be in a position to frame equations for the concerned equations for the concerned topics. So friends, with this we are coming to the end of the section. We are closing the session. So thank you all for joining the session. Thank you very much.